Lord. All right, good morning, guys. It is yet another Thursday, and it is the third week of the year. It is flying by. This morning, we have an awesome guest. His name is Oliver Marx. We're going to talk to him here in just a second. Before we get started with that, if anyone has any shout outs, any announcements, or any gratitude that they want to share, this is the time to do it. So raise your hand, speak up. And if not, we're going to move forward. So I've got a couple things for you as you think about that. Number one, want to remind you, Fridays, Chris Suarez does the all partner call. So it is happening every Friday. It is such a good reset before the weekend. Tuesday, every Tuesday, Brian Gubernick and his slew of wonderful people, they do an agent only call. I don't even get on those. Those are for the agents. If you don't know Brian, he is amazing. That call is at 10 o'clock. And then for the Austin area, there is a place event coming up February 10th. If that is news to you, let your team leader know. And in San Antonio, I think it's February 11th. So there's a February 11th and a February 10th place event. Uh, with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I see Oliver is already up on my screen, so I'm going to go ahead and spotlight him for everyone. What's up, Oliver?
Hey, what's
Good
going on,
morning.
Elena? How's it going?
It is going. It is always going, right? Um, I want to share with everybody that one of the things that makes just play so awesome is that we are able to learn anything and everything here. Would you guys agree with that? Yes. And today I want to talk to Oliver because number one, he's young in the business. He hasn't been doing this the last 10 years. Those of us who have been doing this for 20, 30 years, awesome for us. There's new kids on the block and it's awesome. And not only is he young in the business, he's young himself, right? Not too many wrinkles yet, Oliver. I mean, you're winning at life right now, which is awesome. And he has built his business on a really, really cool lead gen lever. He's one of the strongest listing agents on our team in Austin. So, Oliver Marks from Austin, Texas. Um, you're 25, right?
Yes.
Young kid, awesome. You've been in the business about a year and a half. It's going to be 2 years in May.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. What did you do the first 6 months? What did that look like? What did your activity look like the first 6 months of your business?
Yeah, good question. And thanks so much for having me on this. It's cool to be on the other side of it. The first 6 months were honestly way harder than I thought. I mean, I think we all sort of had that wake up call whenever we got into real estate that it's not like the TV shows where you tell people three houses to pick from. It's a hard job. So it was a lot harder. But it was a lot of calls, a lot of doing outbound prospecting to looking for people that I could do business with. And a lot of times without anyone else being around, a lot of working by myself, trying to build a business, and a lot of no's as well. That was one of the things that I wasn't expecting is how many times you get no's whenever you're building a business and you're asking for opportunities. And that was something that I had to do some adjusting to get used to.
Okay, I hear
I,
that.
yeah, I remember my first yes after, I don't know, I probably got 1,000 no's asking for people to interview to list their house. I had hosted an open house right around the corner from an expired slash withdrawn call-in, and he came over to the house to visit it. And I remember afterwards, he was like, hey, basically he initiated the listing point. He's like, hey, I want you to come over and interview to get my house back on the market. And after been doing this for 2 months and getting what felt like nowhere, like getting that first yes, I'm just in my car by myself, just like screaming with excitement. I'm like, okay, this is actually possible. So yeah, first 6 months were difficult, but until you start getting that first yes and building off of it, and then also relying really heavily on the team, especially for the first 6 months, because you just don't know how a contract works exactly, and you don't know if a property value goes up for a landlord, if it has furniture in it or not. Like you just have to pick up the phone and ask your teammates these questions constantly. So that's something that I relied on heavily.
What point did you realize that expired listings or listings that failed to sell the first time with another agent might be a real opportunity for you?
I would say it was a conversation I had with one of the top agents on our team where I was like, hey man, I've been doing a ton of outbound research or a ton of outbound prospecting and I'm just not really seeing the results that I want to. And he was like, hey, are you calling expireds? And I was like, no. So I switched to that because he said you should talk to these people because they're often incredibly motivated to sell their house. So once I was able to start having those conversations and I heard people that were just ranting to me, telling me everything that their previous realtor messed up on. I'm like, okay, I know how to give feedback if someone says they didn't like this about the house, and that's what other people were dropping the ball on. So I realized that there were a good opportunity when they're motivated people who really want to sell their house versus somebody who's not interested.
Got it. So for you, when you're prospecting before was a lot of what was it like circle prospecting, and then you switched over to expireds?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It kind of happened a little naturally, but I was also intentional about making those conversations the one that I had. I mean, I wanted those to be the people that I worked with because, like I said, they're people who have raised their hand and want to sell their house rather than trying to convince someone to do business with, someone who might not want to sell. But anyways, I just realized these people want to talk about real estate, so it kind of just happened naturally.
Cool. Got it. So it evolved naturally. What do you think most agents probably assume, maybe incorrectly, about sellers who didn't sell their house with the other agent? Any assumptions you can think of?
Maybe not. Honestly, I don't necessarily know what other agents think, but I know what I thought about
Okay.
expireds is I thought that they were unrealistic on price.
Mhm.
And that was something that made it feel like it would be scary to have these conversations. And an example just from last week, I had a listing appointment with a really sweet couple in Georgetown, and they were super motivated to move to San Antonio so they could be closer with family because they lost somebody. So it was really important that they relocate. And they had been trying for 8 months, and this listing appointment that I had was in a house that had no furniture in it. And they had been waiting there the entire time without success. And the reason they didn't sell was because of the price. And the numbers were not as the numbers were rough. They were going to take a pretty big hit on the property. And I realized that they had absolutely no clue because their agent didn't tell them. So I'm thinking that these people are really going to be really stubborn. They're going to say, no, it's worth way more than it is. But nobody had told them. So they were just kind of shocked when I was transparent and said, hey, this is what it needs to sell for in order for you to accomplish your goals of getting to San Antonio. So that was something that I just assumed is that if someone doesn't sell, and they were 200K over their asking price, it's because they're stubborn. But no, it's often because they just haven't been told.
You bring that up, it's interesting. And for everyone who hasn't seen the graphic recently of 2025 National Association of Realtors numbers, right? Remember, like somewhere like 93% of all agents sold less than nine houses, like not even one a week, no, no, not even one a month, right? And so when you think about that, like it's hard to build the muscle. Like imagine going to the gym nine times a year, right? It's the equivalent of that. Like I need to get to the gym. I know that personally, right? If I went nine times a year, there's no muscle being built. And so you're right. Oftentimes, right? Are there unrealistic, stubborn folks? Of course there are, but that's anywhere and everywhere. But you're finding that oftentimes people are not even having the agent's not even having these real conversations. So you get to be a problem solver.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you believe sellers feel when their home doesn't sell the first time?
They'll tell you, just ask them. They're often frustrated, deceived. They feel like the house is just never really going to sell. They're usually pretty frustrated.
There's a lot of frustrations. What do you think agents do wrong when approaching these sellers? Anything?
When approaching them, I know what I did wrong whenever I first started talking to these folks is I was talking over them. Whenever you're on the phone with them, they're people that have probably already been talked over before for the past several months. So I was really intentional about switching from trying to teach them everything that went wrong to asking them what went wrong. And then as soon as someone's voice is on the other line, I just stop talking and then just listen. So that's something that I was doing wrong, is I was talking over them, telling them what to do, when in reality you just ask them what their experience was and then don't say another word and let them express that. And also I think if I don't know if I think that people aren't reaching out to them enough because some of these are slam dunk conversations on the first try. And it's not even because you said the right thing. It's because their house is off the market and they just learned that they can't move until their house gets back on the market. And they just need to speak to somebody who can get it on the market.
What's your internal mindset? What's your internal dialogue walking into these conversations? Are you going in as like, okay, I'm gonna get this listing, I'm gonna be their advisor, I'm gonna be their problem solver? Like, what's your internal mindset?
Hmm. Um, Whenever a home doesn't sell, I usually let them know it's for one of two reasons, either the price or the marketing. So mostly it's diving in to ask them which one they felt like it was, and then letting them know how we could fix it moving forward. So trying to figure out whether it was price or marketing is my mindset.
Got it. Thanks for helping us like just get around your mindset so that we can frame this for ourselves. Why do you think, last one on this topic, why do you think sellers who are often probably double your age, they trust you at 25 versus someone that's maybe 10 years older, 20 years older?
Good question. I think that often sellers can tell that I really want to sell their house. I'm very energetic, I'm very high energy, and I love my job, and I make sure that everybody knows that. So I think they can tell that I am very passionate about trying to actually get them across the finish line. And I also got to shout out the place listing consultation because it's just beautifully put together, and it my listing presentation has been sort of copied and tweaked from listening to the top agents on our team who have successfully delivered it. So that's been a huge help for me. And just a couple scripts on age. I let people know that, I probably do look younger than other realtors you've spoken to, but nobody knows this market like I do. Like this is my market. And also nobody knows the contracts like I do because I just went through every individual Keller Williams training class and I know what changes have been made. And then also if someone, if maybe it's a higher price point listing, I let people know, hey, I'm assuming that you're interviewing some other agents that probably have 10 listings around here for, a total of $20 million. I just want you to know that if this for some reason doesn't work out for them, it's probably not going to matter. But if I sell this house, this is life-changing money for me. And it's going to be my full-time job to sell your house. So just making sure that they know that I actually really, really care.
I love that. I love that. So over the last 12 months, I was looking up your numbers. You had a lot of sales, right? But this is a good lead generation lever for you. Yeah, of course, Oliver had sales from his sphere and from open houses and quite a lot of other sources. But 18 listings came from prospecting, which is mostly for you expireds. But do I have that right, wrong? Like, where did your business come from? Like, where did these listings come from?
Yes, I'd say almost exclusively expireds. And these are people that I'm calling just on Mojo. We use a triple dialer, and every single morning the data from Land Voice is uploaded in there, and you get to talk to the freshest people who just got put on the market or just got pulled off of the market. And often I'm the first person to tell them that their house expired. Same with leads that are in our database. I mean, we all have access to Brivity. That activity tab in the top right, you can see when somebody that you knew was on the market and then expired. So if you check that every single morning, you can legit find a family friend that just expired and needs your help. And then when I get frustrated with the phones, or if I get frustrated with the phones, I just need a break from it. I'll door knock, and you just go in the MLS, you look at who's expired in the past month, you set it to owner occupied, and then you go knock and just ask them if they're still interested in selling. And trust me, if they want to sell, they will tell you. It doesn't have to be a beautiful script at the door. You just have to be the first person in front of the door when it expires.
I love that. How often are you working this category? Like, is this something that you do daily? Is this something that you do weekly? Maybe just at the beginning of the year? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'd say it depends on how many appointments and active business I'm juggling because that's something I'm still learning how to do. But when I was in business building mode, it was daily. And of course, it's the fresh ones, but there are only so many fresh ones. So you have to go into the older ones. So the 1,000 dial day for me was mostly expires and withdrawals and talking to old people who've had that time to reconsider. And these are really fast turnarounds often. They list quickly, especially if they're fresh. So daily is the best habit.
How many conversations does it usually take you to secure a listing right now?
I actually looked up my 2025 numbers. I made a total of 14,000 calls on Mojo, and that led to 1,100 contacts or people that answered a yes or no real estate question. And then from my listings, basically one out of every 50 conversations turned into a listing. So that sounds like a lot, but it's actually, only 107 hours on the dialer in a year. And this is going to make my managing director Mary sick, but that's 2 hours per week. Work. And if, I'm even more consistent with it, or any of us are even more consistent with it, like these are people who need our help.
Okay, let me frame that for everybody. If you maybe just logged in a little bit late, uh, how many people have had 50 conversations in a week but didn't sign a listing? Like, has that ever happened to you? And if your hand isn't up, maybe you just need to do 50 conversations, right? Like that might be the first step. But I'm telling you, I see the numbers every week. So I know folks are having 50 conversations without signing a listing agreement. So you're going to have 50 conversations anyway. You might as well set yourself up for actually winning a listing, right? So that's actually very cool. That number is not an unrealistic number. 50 conversations leading to a signed listing, and I looked at Oliver's numbers of those 18 listings, only two haven't sold yet, right? Like there's still a path to selling, just different personal things came up for those clients. So those are really great odds, by the way, a listing that sells. I think that's pretty cool. So you try to go after them immediately after they expire, or do you like wait a while so that they have less emotions?
Yeah, the only time that I'm going to be waiting is if I have just been too busy to call them right away. But always, I would always encourage people that want to get these types of listings is you've got to reach out to them the morning of, especially on like an expired day on the first of the month. If you've waited till noon, these people have been inundated with phone calls and they've already turned it off. So you've got to be the first one to reach out immediately.
You know, is there anything that you're doing differently maybe this year compared to last year, just with the telemarketing drama, or do you like kind of steer clear of anything, or are you just like, they gotta sell and I want to help them? Like, what's your mindset? Do you have a mindset around that?
Yeah, it's just most of these people don't know that their house isn't even in front of buyers anymore. And that's a huge problem for them because they need to get moved on. So I honestly haven't even let that stress me out. I just introduced myself as Oliver with Keller Williams and let them know that their house is off the market and ask if they still want to sell it. And that's worked fine without issues for me.
Okay, heard. And for everybody listening, it's an interesting topic for sure. With the fact that, these are people who literally just came off the market. So it's not necessarily a circle prospecting call with somebody not expecting a call. So we can dig into that a little bit more. I want to, like, if you get an opportunity right now, can you walk us through maybe what your first conversation sounds like? Maybe how do you open this conversation? What does that sound like?
Yeah, it's honestly almost always the same because I use a script. And I'll drop the link in the chat at the end of this so everyone can download it and try it yourself. It made a big difference for me. But it's, hey, this is actually Oliver. I just came across your property on 123 Main Street and I noticed it came off the market recently. I was just curious, is the property still available or did you already get it sold off market? So just starting off with curiosity. And as soon as they let us know that, hey, we do still want to sell, it's, hey, just, whenever you first listed the property, what was the original game plan? Are you trying to move locally? Is it an investment sale? Like, why are you selling? And then they'll give you the motivation from there. But starting off asking if they still want to sell it, usually will get them talking.
Okay, do you still want to sell? Um, and what was the original game plan? Getting
Exactly.
to like motivation.
Yeah, yeah. The main objective in the opening call is to get them talking about why it didn't sell and to also learn if their bottom dollar is below market value. Because as I'm on the call with them, I immediately paste their address in and look at what's been selling around their neighborhood while I'm on the phone with them. So I can see, hey, if their bottom dollar is 850 and everything else is selling for 700, and I can tell that they're serious about that, this is someone who I want to give well wishes to and move on from. Otherwise, I'm gonna waste their time. So also motivation is incredibly important because that's just how us as place agents are trained to help people is to learn where their motivation comes from so we can help them accomplish it.
Um, are there times when they don't open up, or do you have scripts that help them open up? Like, I guess, how does it go from like, I'm having just a regular conversation to like, man, I'm going to set an appointment with these people?
That's a really good question. Yes, I have a general script that I like to use. I don't know if there's an exact term for it, but generally, if there's a question that I want to ask that's uncomfortable to ask, like, hey, would you like to meet with me so I can tell you how I can sell your house? I just put it as like a negative. So, it's if the question I want to ask is, do you want to sell your house? It's, hey, I just want to ask, you're not, looking to still sell your house, are you? Or also, if someone says that they don't want to sell the house because of the market, it's, hey, if I could show you a way that we could sell your home for top dollar, is that a conversation that you'd be against? So just insert objection after, if I could show you a way that we could overcome the hard market, is that something you'd be against? And people, they want to be open-minded. So often that helps. And of course,
Interesting.
asking why it didn't sell is essential as well.
Well, where in the conversation do you feel like, ooh, I got it?
Oh, definitely when they're ranting about what their realtor did wrong. And guys, you would be shocked at just what, like, these people will sign a $1 million listing and then they won't give feedback and they won't follow up with these leads. So when people rant about the other agents, you just listen, and take notes about what you want to do and what you're going to say during your listing appointment, what you're going to commit to and then do to actually help them. Get it across the line. And then, of course, if you say something and they say one moment and then they call their partner over to get them on the line, say the exact same thing again because they liked it and they thought their partner would too.
I love that. What are the three objections you hear most often?
Ooh, number one, I'm waiting for the market to improve. And same line I shared earlier, it's, hey, I totally understand if I was in your position, I would also want to be waiting to net more money. But if there was a way that I could show you that you could actually get the amount of money you need to get moved on to San Antonio, is that something you would be, open to? And then also I'm relisting with the same agent. It's the same script. Hey, I totally get that. If I was in your position, I'm a very loyal person. I would probably be relisting with the same person as well. But I just have to ask, if there was a way that I could show you that I could actually net you more money, is that something that, you would want to have a conversation about? And the third would be, we just don't want to sell anymore. We're not interested. And it's the same thing. Hey, I totally get that. You probably feel like the house is never going to sell, but if there was a way that we could still get you an offer at a number you were happy with, is that something you'd be open to? So those three objections are the most common.
I love that. Um, Aw, thanks, guys. Absolutely. The chat loves you. Um, okay, let's move on to maybe like appointment. What data or what visuals, what are you bringing to the appointment that maybe other agents are forgetting, or maybe you've cracked the code on something?
Yeah, so I mean, everyone brings a CMA, but I try to tell a little bit more of a story with it. So as I'm going through and looking at comps, I'm writing out my thoughts like, oh, this carpet just didn't look very nice, or this roof seemed to be a little bit older, and just tell it more of a story as you go through it. And I read it out entirely to them. I also include screenshots of agent feedback. So I'm always asking other listing agents what went wrong or what went right whenever they sold that house, especially if it has a lot of days on market. Take those screenshots, print them out on a piece of paper, and literally show the seller, hey, by the way, this is what someone who successfully sold your house has to say about the area. Also, Austin Board of Realtors has awesome MLS graphs that show how the market has shifted. So if you have access to tools that show how the market has changed over time, right now it probably looks like this. So you can show people that things have changed, especially since the COVID days. So it's important to price it accurately. Otherwise, you're gonna not sell. And then the before and after photos are amazing as well. So because I've done a couple expireds and withdrawals, I can show people the before and the after of what an agent who takes iPhone photos versus somebody like us who hires a third-party photographer and sends it off for professional edits. It's a night and day difference. And if you don't even have those yet, just ask your teammates, ask for someone who's successfully done expireds and withdrawals and show that side by side so they can see that before and after and picture what their house will like.
So I'm hearing maybe some case studies that they can physically maybe see or touch. maybe some data, feedback from either that particular listing or the listings around it that have sold. Just painting the picture and telling a story versus like, here's my professional opinion where you need to be.
Yes, yeah,
How,
absolutely.
how much time are you spending preparing for like in a perfect world, right? Like sometimes I understand we kind of get, not perfect, but in a perfect world, how much time are you spending getting ready for an
It
appointment?
It depends on if I've lost appointments before, because if I have been on a streak of not signing something, it's frustrating and I hate to lose. So it can be up to 3 hours of me doing a very detailed pricing analysis, getting all of the screenshots added, and doing all my homework for it. But on average, I'd probably say like an hour and a half. It just depends on, I'd say, the price point and how motivated I am to actually get that one signed.
I love that. I love that. If you guys are looking at time, your calendar says until 9:15 because I knew this was going to be really packed. And I've got a little bit more to go, and you probably don't want to miss it. But in case you do miss it, remember it is recorded. All right, I'm going to go to strategy now. So, how are you building rapport before showing up to their door so that everything you're going to say is going to be heard?
Absolutely, and I'll keep my answers pretty concise so I can drop that link to everybody. But building rapport before the door, it's immediate follow-up text, immediate calendar invite, and also just a 30-second to 60-second thank you video, just recorded on my phone, selfie version, thanking them for talking, restating their motivation, uploading to Google Drive, and sharing it so they can see.
I love that. How does your pricing strategy differ from the first agent? Like, are you just listing it at what they were and then hoping it sells, or what does that look like?
I'd say that it's really honest and it's can sometimes be super uncomfortable. And I didn't really know this at all whenever I first got into real estate, but like I've said this to other agents on my team, part of my job that I didn't realize is changing people's like retirement dreams. Like some people just have a number in their head that they're sure that something is worth, and no one's ever told them that it's not feasible right now and they have to move right now. So just being fully transparent and fully honest off the get-go.
Other than being honest, is there any other way that you manage a seller's expectation so that there's success the second time around?
Yeah, I ask. I just ask them, hey, what is an expectation that you have of your realtor? And usually they're pretty transparent with it. You always got to ask.
I love that. What mistakes did you make early on?
I would probably say telling sellers, and this is just random niche, but telling sellers to spend money on repairs and cleaning, rather than telling them off the get-go, hey, by the way, this whole strategy, it's up to you on how you want to sell your house. If you want to spend money to sell for top dollar and squeeze every penny out of it, we can do that. Versus, hey, by the way, this is how you're going to sell your house for top dollar, and here's the actions you're going to take to do that. Not everybody wants that, and I've lost listings from telling people what to do that didn't want to be told what to do. So making sure that people know there's different options.
Provide options, not a dictatorship. I think that's probably really good across the board. Um, who or what influenced your approach to this the most?
I would probably say these scripts, and I'll go ahead and drop them in the chat just because it is
I love
something
that.
we'll have to burn off. But I'll go ahead and drop this one in a moment. But yes, scripts are really, really important, and everyone can download those. And my number's at the top in case you know anybody in Austin. Gotta ask.
Gotta make the
Um,
ask. I love that.
Of course. But yeah, I would say those scripts are really, really helpful. And I literally just read from them whenever I'm doing my prospecting. So it makes it really easy.
What do you think are some of the habits or disciplines that have been critical to your success?
Expired day. The first of the month is when every realtor writes in the contract of when it ends. Whether it's a 6 month agreement, it's probably going to end on the first. So there's 500% more leads on the first of the month than every other day. So starting your calls on the first of the month, you're going to have so many more people that are open-minded to talking about you.
When working with expireds or prospecting in general, what do you think matters more? Is it the scripts? Is it the confidence? Or is it the consistency?
I think tonality. Scripts is incredibly important, but also the way that you're saying the words. I've heard someone say it doesn't matter what you say on the phone, it matters how you say it, and I think that's super true. I've just been way more intentional about slowing down on the phone. Slow down, sound really confident, and just be genuinely curious.
I love that. Like it's not what I said. You're right. I love that because you're the one doing it, so you would of course know what it is. It's not necessarily scripts, confidence, or consistency. It is tonality. It is like the top, like most important, and then everything else, or maybe not most important, is maybe the tonality is the foundation that drives those scripts forward that helps your confidence. And if you have good tonality and you're getting success, it's much easier to be consistent, right? It's easier if you go to the gym and you see, the kind of changes you want to see, right? In the same way, it's easier to be consistent when you feel like you're winning, right? At the same time, you don't, you got to be careful with that, right? Like there are days that we follow the plan, not our motivation. But so if an agent, Oliver, has never converted an expired listing before, like what is the first thing that you would say that they should start doing this month, this week?
Oh, well, this is gonna sound really basic, but like pick up the phone and dial. Like these are people that need you, and they um, have probably been burned by somebody who didn't do their job right. And we're place agents, and that means that we know what we're doing and we have resources to help people. And if we don't know what we're doing, we have five people we can ask. So I think the most important part is just picking up and asking because it doesn't matter if you say the right thing or not. It just matters if you're the one that asked first. And often they'll sign with the first person they meet.
I love that. One of the reasons people don't pick up the phone is because they are intimidated. What would you say to someone who is intimidated by these type of sellers?
Good question. I don't know. I felt a little intimidated whenever I first started calling them, but I realized like really the only hotter lead than a fresh expired is a pre-approved Zillow lead who is calling you, or a Sphere referral on a silver platter. And those are few and far between. So arguably everybody like else can kind of brush you off, but these are people that need you. And they're also really, really grateful when you help because they've seen the other side. And when you get them across the finish line, it's really, really satisfying and they're really grateful.
Oh, I love that because they can compare and contrast because they have had a different experience, not 10 years ago, but like right now. Right on. I love that. Where's your business going? Where's your career? Where do you want it to be in the next 3 to 5 years? We've had a really successful year and a half, almost 2 years. Where do we want to be 3 to 5 years from now?
Ooh, that's a big question. I would say I want to sort of emulate the career path that the top agents on our team have had, particularly like the number one agent on our team. She is incredibly talented and she lives a referral based life. So her time is all spent servicing her clients and making sure that she is being an incredible realtor rather than prospecting dozens of hours. And she's earned that through prospecting for dozens of hours. So a goal of my career in 3 to 5 years it would probably be to live a referral based life. And I know that that can be accomplished by doing a really good job with people who you have to ask if they need your help. So it would be cool if I could live a referral based business after I built it up.
I love that. I love that for everyone who is thinking like, man, what could that look like? If I had to guess without pulling numbers, for Oliver and for everybody here, I would say, that agent who lives by referral. And when I mean by referral, I don't mean like, you get 5 clients a year. I mean, your first 30 clients of the year are referral based, right? From past clients and Sphere and their past client referrals and their Sphere referrals. So, you get to a point where your first 30 clients are referral based, and which is awesome. You probably need to build to about 700 or so past clients to do that. Like it takes time. You probably need a database that is really robust. Maybe that looks like, I don't know, 1,500 people. So it is a pretty big life that you have to build. And then it pays dividends for years and years and years, right? I love that. Because I said at 9:15 to everybody, we do have a few minutes if you've got any questions. If we can answer them, if Oliver can answer them, I know he will. So this is the time if you've got questions. If not, like no pressure, we can drop and jump off early.
So
Oliver,
I,
thank you
I
for being
do.
prepared. Hey, 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 good morning.
Hey, good morning. I do have a question. Oliver, you mentioned earlier that because this is not a particular category I would call. But and so I'm gonna start, but now that we've had this call, but you mentioned earlier to be the first, right? So how do you do that? Like I know we can look in our MLS database on expireds, but like what do you use to make sure you're um getting like first, you're going to be the first one out the door? Like what does that look like? I guess I should say.
Yeah, good question. So honestly, the team handles a lot of that for me. So I'd have to shout out Adelina for that one, specifically on like what the systems are in place in order for the lead to just appear in my Mojo where I just have to click a button and call them. But for expired day to be specific, an action that anybody could take on the first of the month is to set in your MLS filters the very early morning of the first of the month and look at them on a map, ones that are owner occupied, because that means that they live in the house and then drive to them and just go knock on the door because you're absolutely going to be the first person that is speaking to them. And you're probably going to be telling them that their house is no longer on the market and they have no idea. And
Mhm.
you're also now have permission to have that conversation with them because expireds, unlike withdrawns, are always terminated contracts. It has to be uploaded in there. So you have permission to speak to these people for the very first time. So I would say check with Adelina specifically on what the back end of the data, the systems are. But an action that you can take at any time is to look on the MLS, set the date for expired, and just go ask. Ask if they're still interested in selling and if they know what went wrong.
Perfect.
I'm
Okay.
gonna send out. I'll send out two links, Deanna. I'll send out a link of what it looks like when we do it in Mojo, and then I'll send out a link of like what it looks like when we do it in Brivity, because you can do it in both. And
Thank you.
so it like amazing, right? The only reason somebody would use Mojo as opposed to Brivity is if you're so good that you are triple dialing, right? Everything else we do in Brivity because like it already exists, which is awesome because a year ago it didn't exist. So I will send you a link of what to do and how to do it. Great question. Christina, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Oliver, for being so generous and sharing your successes and process. It was so good. I'm like going to watch it 5 times now. But I had a question. So you're dialing daily, and you want to be the first one to dial. Are you dialing at like 7:30, 8 o'clock? What does the nitty gritty look like?
Yes, good question. So we usually wrap up our scripting and our goals around 8:30. So I'm probably on the phone at 9. And I think that
Nine.
9 a.m., 10 a.m. is the sweet spot. On expire day, it's 7. It's very sharp because all of the top expired and withdrawn agents are all calling these people at the same time. And one thing I realized that I forgot to mention is you're not going to be the only person calling these people. They're going to have been
Mm-hmm.
inundated with other calls. But if you do it at a high volume, you do get people that pick up and say, "Oh my gosh, Oliver, I never pick up random numbers, but for some reason I picked up this one." Because if you do it enough,
Right.
they pick up eventually. So yes, I would say start at I typically start at 8:39, and on expire day, the first of the month, it's probably 7:30 in the morning consistently until 1 or 2. And right after, especially on an expire day when you're talking to so many people, it's really important that you take notes, good notes for each person because they will get mixed up. And if you do it right, you're going to set 4 or 5 appointments on the first of the month.
So the first of the month is generally when most of the listings expire because the listing agreements go till the end of the month. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
agents generally write in that it ends on the 31st or ends on the 1st. So
Mm-hmm.
there's just so many fresh people that need your help. I think on the first of the year, there was like 800 listings that expired. I bet half of them
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know they were off the market. That's just what their agent
Right.
wrote in. So these are
Yeah.
people that need to be reached out to.
And what are your thoughts on letters? Have you sent, I know you mentioned door knocking, so you mostly do calls, but you do some door knocking. Have you ever sent letters?
Oh, I love that you asked that because I have done a lot of handwritten letters and handwritten follow-ups and dropping off brochures and printing out other homes that did successfully sell. And Based off of that, I'm of the firm belief that it doesn't really matter what you write on a piece of paper and hand to somebody. Sorry, they're probably going to crumple it up and throw it in the trash. Mary told me that whenever I first gotten started, and I was like, no, what do you mean? I'm going to hand out 400 flyers. And I didn't get any callbacks. But instead, I tried door knocking on 400 doors without anything in my hand. And as soon as they open the door and you can actually just ask them in person, hey, what do you think went wrong? It builds a lot more rapport. So I'm of the firm belief that don't let not having something in your hand pull you back from having that conversation. It doesn't matter what's
Mhm.
in your hand. It matters,
Right.
what they it matters if they need your help or not when you open the door.
And how much door knocking would you say you do versus calling every day? And is calling, superior to door knocking in terms of
Yes,
like ROI?
yes, I would say it is because of the fact that you can have so many more conversations in such a short amount of time. But it's also a
Mhm.
mindset thing because I can get burned out if I'm spending an exorbitant amount of time on the dialer, and you can feel like, I mean, honestly, sometimes you just have a bad luck streak of the amount of closed-minded people that you speak to, and it can make you discouraged. People are more open-minded when you get in front of them in person. So if you get discouraged from having a ton of no's on the phone and you're like, you know what, let's switch it up. Let's go talk to real people.
Mhm.
It's nice when someone opens the door and they smile and they want to talk.
Yeah. And what time of day or days, like weekend or weekday, have you found effective for door knocking?
Yeah, so this was tricky because I've really, really enjoyed open houses. I tried to do the door knocking when I wasn't doing open houses, like Mondays, Wednesdays, even Fridays. But I have found the best success rate when I swap the prime open house hours for the door knocking hours because that's when people are home and that's when they're not busy. So Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. are, in my opinion, the best times.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thanks for your nice words.
Jacori, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
All right. Or at least close.
Yeah, it was right on. So Oliver, I service the San Antonio area, and I kind of used to, well, I do what you do, call expires. A lot of my business or a lot of my listings come from expireds, but and I know you call early in the morning, and I know you said be the first. But what happens, like, have you ever seen to where you call, you set the appointment, and then it's time for you to confirm, and then another agent or they cancel on you for someone else?
That's a great question. And one of the ways that I've been able to sort of help an appointment stick is by I don't remember who exactly said it, but it was something I learned from Place, and that's just tell someone that you're going to do something, do it, and then tell them that you did it. So tell them that you're going to be doing 2 to 3 hours of research on pricing their home. And then after you do it, tell them that you completed the work and you're so excited for them to see that you've completed the work. And I think that helps a lot with conversion. And you're correct. If somebody's going to be agree to meet with you to list their house, they're probably going to be interviewing two or three other people that have also called and asked for the same opportunity. But in my opinion, that's why we're place agents. Other agents don't have the listing consultation that we do, and they don't have the services that we do. And yeah, you just go into it with the expectation that you are competing with multiple agents and our listing consult's better.
I'm going to do some quick fire ones that came up in the chat to wrap this up. Oliver, do you call people back that didn't answer after you called through the list the first time?
Good question. Yes, it's tricky because you will be on the dialer and you will get callbacks throughout the process. I've figured out a way where you can pause the dialer, answer the call, and it's awkward because often when you're getting callbacks from expireds, you don't know what address they were talking about. It just is it's an awkward reality. But I've just found that if I start off with an apology, I'm like, hey, look, I'll be honest, I was calling about a property that expired, but my computer is totally glitching. I just don't have the information in front of me. Do you mind letting me know, did you happen to have a property that was on the market and expired? And if they did, then you can ask them what the address was. So yes, I'll pick up a callback, and I'll consistently continue calling through the same list if they didn't pick up the first time. And then always, if it's a wrong number, delete the number so the next agent that calls through doesn't have to deal with that. And if it is somebody that is very close-minded, you know the words that they say to us, delete them. Like it's not worth our time, and you want to speak to people who are open-minded and want to work with agents that are good.
I hear that. Do you use a different date for your listing agreements now that you know that everything expires at the end of the month?
No, just because they usually go under contract because the team puts a lot of resources into the listing and they make sure that it looks really, really good. And the pricing conversation is just up front. So I usually just do a 6 month agreement. And I also tell everybody, by the way, like we have a cancellation policy that if you aren't satisfied, like you can terminate the agreement. I mean, it's not my house. I'm not going to make you sell your house. So if your plans change, just tell me and we'll send the docs over. And I tell people that's never happened before. But it's not my house. I can't tell you what to do. And it just instills confidence that we will get them across the finish line.
I love that. Last one, what does your follow-up look like when sellers maybe say that they do want to think about it? Are you showing up in person? Are you calling them back? Do you forget about them? Like, what does that look like?
If it is, if I can't, if they don't seem open-minded from the initial phone conversation, I'm honestly going to keep looking for somebody that is. If I have a really good conversation with somebody and I almost set the listing appointment, but I can tell they were just sort of on the fence, I'll usually follow up with, if you have a team lead, you can look up their numbers on homes.com and it shows on a map all of the past sales in 5 years. And it's likely that every other teammate has their listings that have shared on there. So I'll go through and I'll take a screenshot of all of the past homes.com closings for that specific area and then send it to them and say, hey, by the way, like I know you need some time. I just want you to know that like we do business in your neighborhood. And this is all these are all the past closings that we've been able to help your neighbors with. So if, when the time does come, just, reach out. And then also make sure they're on a market report. Same with a listing alert. I do a daily listing alert in their niche area because I didn't know this, but listing alerts only send out, like if you set a listing alert to daily, it only sends out if there's a new property. So you're not actually blowing somebody up unless there's value to be added. So you can create a listing alert for their specific neighborhood, name it handpicked competition for Sally, and then save it to send daily. And it'll only send her an email every time new competition pops up in her pocket. So that's a good way that you can use the systems to ping, ping, ping every single time that there's value to be added.
I love that. Um, when you door knock, Oliver, is there some research that you're doing beforehand?
Yes, so I will pull a list of all of the closings and I will have them again just in the specific neighborhood and I'll have them listed in descending order from most expensive to least expensive, an agent single line view. So if somebody wants to figure out what they think their house is worth, they just glance over, see the beds, baths, square footage. And again, this doesn't take more than 5 minutes. It's just draw a circle around the neighborhood, agent single line, closed in the past 180 days, descending price, most expensive, least expensive and print that out. But honestly, no. I think the research is the biggest objector from getting you to get door knocking listings because you spend too much time prepping to door knock when all you had to do was knock on the door. That's been my experience. Like I know that I've lost listings because I spent too much time preparing to door knock listings. That's held me back from doing it when you just need to show up and do it. And often people will need your help. And it's not like you're just going to have all these people that are yes, 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 let's go work together. You're going to get a ton of no's. It's just the reality of the business. But the people that do want to work with you, they're really, really going to appreciate you. And it's a good feeling.
I love that. I'm going to show everybody how to do what you said about the homes.com thing. Tell me when do you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So pop in your team lead's name. So I'm going to pop in, let's say mine really quick. And when you go here at the bottom, here's what I'm assuming this is what you're doing, Oliver. You're
Exactly.
popping in here, you're finding like their kind of direct area, you're screen shooting kind of that whatever. Let's say you had something in Wells Branch that you set an appointment for, right? You'd probably pop in something like this and say, these are all the homes that, all the clients we've helped in this area. We know your area really well. Something like that. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And it doesn't even have to be in that specific neighborhood. I just make sure they know that every dot on that screen, and look at all those dots. There's so many closings from that team that you can just show them that, by the way, like this is our territory. So if you zoom in really close, it can get kind of niche, but just keep it kind of broad so you can see not only how many closings we've had in their city, but also other ones. So that would be about the screenshot that I would take if I was looking to show someone Wells Branch, because you can see that there's a ton in there and there's also a ton everywhere else.
Yeah, don't use only your efforts, right? This is why we work together as a team, right? Build your case around your team. No matter how much Oliver sells, like nobody cares that he sold 18 expireds. This is like your team numbers are obviously going to be more impressive. Okay, you guys, that was fun. Oliver, thank you for just laying down the law this morning and letting us know what it could look like. Here's the deal. Maybe prospecting isn't for you. That's fine. Find your thing that is for you, right? Like, where are your 18 listings going to come from this year, right? Like, the business is out there. It doesn't have to be Oliver's way, but it could be Oliver's way. And if that is a lead gen lever that you maybe have been interested in, maybe you have tried before, or maybe you're like, wow, I didn't think I could do this, but now I can. I think what's really cool about this is you don't have to wait 5, 10 years to become a really great listing agent, to become excellent at doing prospecting or working with sellers or even working with luxury properties. I think one of Oliver's, I think what people think is expired listings that work with somebody are just the low end. I think I remember the lake house that you took, Oliver, like that was a really nice closing, $1 million plus. Clients are really, really happy to work with people who give really great service. I think what we heard today is that when you have the right mindset, when you have the right systems, and all of our teams have the right systems, you have the willingness to have these honest conversations, you can definitely step into having one of the best lead gen levers, one of the hardest lead gen levers, but also one of the most fruitful lead gen levers really work for you. Thank you, Oliver, showing us what's possible at a young age. For the rest of us that have a little bit more wrinkles than you do, man, we could maybe even get it done faster because we've got life experience going for us. You have to overcome that. That's something we don't have to overcome. So I hope it gives the agents that heard this and will hear the replay a lot of confidence to be able to do this. And we really, really appreciate you.
Of course. And I dropped that link again with those scripts. Make sure you download them, try them. The worst thing that can happen is somebody says no. And then my number's at the top there. So if you have any questions about expireds or withdrawals, just text me. I'm happy to help.
You're amazing, Oliver. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you guys next week. We'll do more of this. Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your week. Get those closings.
Thank
Bye.
you.